Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to Hey Chip Lane, I Want to Be an Actor Too. Sponsored today by our first feature film, Untouched, which is on Amazon Prime. It's on Tubi, it's on Google Play, it's on YouTube, it's on iTunes, and other streaming services, so please watch it and rate it. I don't care if you love it or hate it, please rate it. It'll help us out. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell for updates. Today's guest is Joe Davison. He's an actor, director. He's directed, I think, 7 feature films. Some of them he's written, some of them he hadn't. He's also been in numerous television shows and films, including a recurring role in Stranger Things. So get ready for 30 minutes of interesting conversation with actor-director Joe Davison. So, hey, I'm on with Joe Davison from Tampa, Florida. He's directed 7 feature films, and I wanted to get his perspective on not only acting, but as a director looking at actors. So he's been in quite a few television shows, feature films himself as an actor. So we can talk about that, and as well as being a director looking at actors. How are you, Joe?
I'm great, man. How the hell are you?
I'm good, man. Thank you. I appreciate you being on the show tonight.
Dude, I'm excited, man. I didn't even know.
So tell everybody how you got started in acting.
Oh, man. It was way back in 1995. I just out of high school. I never thought about acting or any of that. Nothing. I never dawned on me about film or anything like that, but I was an avid horror fan. I watched, from like 5th grade till, yesterday, I watched horror films. I've always have, and I always will, and it was just something that I was drawn to, and I was attracted to Fangoria, which was a horror magazine. It still is. Actually left, it came back. It's still a very prominent horror magazine. And I just remember reading articles out of Fangoria about these horror films, and I didn't know then that I wanted to do film at all. I didn't know. 94, I graduated, still no idea what to do with my life. Now, I had several friends left, went in the Army, and the Marines wanted me to go, and I was like, I'm an idiot. I'm not going to do that. So anyway, so long story short, too late. I ended up becoming I fell into this show called The Sidewalk Cracks, which was a sketch comedy show that was shooting locally in Newport Richey here in Florida. Okay. And so anyway, I only went to it because I met this girl, and she was an amazingly beautiful Spanish girl. I don't even remember her name now. Anyways, so she said, "You should act. You're funny." And I said, "Okay, thank you." And she said, "My husband is a DP." And I said, "Oh, what the hell is that?" And she said, "Well, he shoots this sketch show. You should at least come watch." And I said, "Okay." So I did, and I met the guys who ran it, this guy, Brian Stevenson, and this other guy, Christian Dumais, and a few other people. I can't remember all the names. Rich, Daryl, Darren, doesn't matter. Anyways, so I met these guys, and I started doing this sketch show, man, where we would write sketches during the week, and on the weekends we'd film them and edit them and have them ready for the show on Monday night. Wow. And we aired a show every Monday night at 10 o'clock on TCI Cable Channel 5 in Newport Richey for like 4 or 5 years. And that led me into meeting a bunch of talented people from Tampa who did improv. And I left that show. I left the Sidewalk Cracks and I became an improviser. I started doing improv full time in Tampa. That was about 2000. That was like 99, 2000. Okay, so right around 2000. I'm doing improv like a lot. We're doing it a lot. We're doing it every chance we get. And then I moved from that improv troupe. We have another troupe which is still around. That troupe's called the Charming Hooligans. And it was 6 of us from Beat the Dead Horse because, back when you start in improv and you don't really know what you're doing and nobody else really knows, because, we're talking 1999, 98, and the only thing people really knew improv was from Whose Line Is It Anyway? Right, yeah. And some people barely knew that. The British version. Right, yeah. Some people barely knew that. Yeah. Right?
And people don't understand. Improv is tough. It's not you can't just walk up and go, boogers and snakes. You just
people think they can. People
Right.
think they can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started studying improv. Dude, this is exactly okay. So I learned improv like a garage band learns to become Nirvana. Okay, so that's how I learned improv. I learned it on the street. We didn't know what we were doing. We were playing dive bars in Tampa and St. Pete and comedy clubs because they were the only ones who would let us come in and do a show because we were horrible.
Yeah.
We didn't know what we were doing, and it took years to master that improv craft.
Yeah.
Of being an improviser, which is. A lot of people, you meet improvisers and right away you know they're improvisers because they're always trying to yes and each other to death.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes and each other to death. Oh, you do improv? Yes, I do. And what do you do? And yes, I also do. And it's just annoying. Yeah. But it's just improvisers. It's like a nerdy little cult. Right. Anyways, so this is really long-winded, man. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to tell you how I started.
No, I love it.
So that improv troupe, I left the Charming Hooligans, and I went to Chicago and auditioned for Second City.
Did you really?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was 2001, maybe 2002.
Okay.
And I went up there, auditioned. Me and this gentleman, very talented improviser named Darren Vierde. He actually still teaches improv in improv at the SAC Comedy Lab, which is like a huge it's like the Groundlings, basically, but in Orlando. Like they've been there for years. Anyways, he's an instructor there, teaches improv. He's probably one of the funniest guys I've ever met and most talented improvisers I've ever met. Anyways, he and I, we go up to Chicago and together and audition for Second City. His audition was first at like 2:15, and mine was at like 2:30. He does his, right? Because they kind of cordon you off. You can't really watch anybody. You can't watch everybody. They go in groups, but like it's like group 215, which is like 20 people. Oh. Because they want to put 4 or 5 people on stage together.
Oh wow.
To see how they improvise.
Okay.
So did the improvising, audition. Have no idea how it went. We're there for like 2 more days in Chicago. And we go see the Groundlings and Wrigley Field and all this stuff. I come back home. About a week later, I get a letter in the mail saying that I was accepted into Second City.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so...
How did I not know this? I guess I didn't ask. That was stupid of me.
Yeah, well, I don't tell anybody. Like, it's not like I can't even remember the dates. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't... Be like, one time I auditioned for Second City and I got in.
Yeah.
All right, good job. Who cares? But anyway, so I was still doing improv here. I couldn't really afford to live in Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wasn't even 25 yet because I had a goal I had written for myself that said by the time I was 25, I wanted 3 films and I wanted to be on SNL.
Okay.
I had 3 films and I had got into Second City. And I was like, that's pretty close.
That's pretty close,
man. I was like, I could live with that,
Yeah.
And, yeah, man. So anyway, I came back. That improv troupe, I wasn't part of the Charming Hooligans anymore. They were still a thing. I wasn't really part of that. They kind of ousted us because we went to Second City and tried to do something different. When we came back, they wouldn't let us back in the troupe because, well, we're petty like that as actors.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know what I mean?
Damn,
so they're
man.
like, no, you left us. You went and tried to go get to the Second City. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to be better. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So my really good friend who had been with me since the beginning, this guy, Jason Kranick, he was in Beat the Dead Horse, and then we were in the Charming Hooligans together. He was like, we don't need these idiots. He's like, come on, let's go start another troupe. And I was like, yeah, we will. And so in a weird turn of events, I run into an old friend, Ryan Bauer. Ryan Bauer was on this sketch show, The Sidewalk Critics, with me when I first started in 95. Well, he's like, yeah, I want to do an improv troupe. Let's do an improv troupe. And I said, okay. So it was me, Jason Kranick, who I've been doing improv with for like 10 years, and Ryan Bauer, who I started with in sketch.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's It's Ryan Bauer, myself, and Jason Karanik. And then we get two females. This girl I knew, Patty White, who was the hottest thing I'd seen in town. She was in a couple of horror films locally, a vampire movie and some other thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, she was hot. So I was like, yo, Patty, why don't you get involved in this improv troupe? And she's like, all right. She's like, I've always wanted to do improv, And I said, okay, cool. So then we got this other girl, Victoria Trantham. And Victoria was a Broadway girl who just lived in Tampa. She did work at the Straws, did a lot of theater. Beautiful. Like sultry, like 1940s sultry. That's how she looked. So we got these two girls. So you got me, a bumbling idiot. You have Ryan Bauer, who is possibly could be titled King of Nerds. I mean, he knew everything about Zelda and he knew everything about video games and everything. And then you had Jason Karanik, who was like this 6 foot tall, lanky, bleach blonde haired gothic kid who only wore black clothes and painted his nails black.
All right.
But was the funniest I've ever met. And then we had these two hot girls.
Yeah.
So anyway, so this troupe we called the troupe the Caffeine Kids, and we ended up becoming the in-house improv troupe for the Improv in Ybor City.
Oh.
And then we performed every Wednesday for them, and that led us to and I opened for a ton of people, a ton of comedians in this whole time. We opened for Dave Chappelle, we opened for Bobby Slayton, Kevin Pollak, we opened for a ton of people, man. Wow. But then we became this big in-house improv troupe for the Improv. They were having us perform at all the improvs in Orlando and wherever, and that was a really cool thing, man. But then internal relationships got out of hand, and two people broke up, and then the troupe just fizzled into nothing.
No.
And that's when I really started focusing on acting and filmmaking, really more so than ever. And that was like right around like 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
And that's when we ended up making this horror film called 100 Tears, which was like 2006. I think.
Did you direct that?
I know what happened. I moved to England. I was like, where'd time go?
Oh.
I lived in England for about 4 years.
Oh my gosh.
I had gotten married in 2002, maybe. That sounds right. and we moved. She was in the Air Force, and we moved to England. And she was stationed at Lakenheath Air Force Base for like 4 years.
Yeah, okay.
So I was over there, and I made 3 or 4 films when I was over there. And then I came back in 2006. So that's what happened. I stopped doing improv because I got married and we moved to England.
Oh, wow.
But then I started focusing on filmmaking.
Yeah.
And I worked with a group in England called the Cambridge Filmmakers Network, which is all these college kids out of Cambridge.
Oh, okay.
Getting together as a society, and they were making films together. One guy would write something, another person wanted to direct it, another person would produce it. And they just worked as a team like that. There's no money, but they were doing it. Yeah. And I joined them, and I became the only American in the group. There was like 30 people.
That's okay.
And dude, I learned so much. With that group, with the Cambridge Filmmakers Network. I mean, it's a time I'll never forget.
So what do you think is the most important aspect of training as an actor?
Improv, 100%, because it's your ability to it hones your ability to listen. Yeah. And it allows you to work within the environment and the space you're given. Yeah. And that's where these, I can't stress it enough when I talk to actors. Yeah. Because they're like, what should I take? Improv. I took a class. Nah, I don't mean a class. I mean like 2 years of it.
Well, I'll tell you this is, cause I hate commercials, but I love commercials because they pay so well. But I'll tell you what, man, when you get a commercial, the improv, that just kicks in left and right.
Oh man, I'll tell you. I had a great time, dude. Well, how many commercials have you done?
Oh, God.
Probably a few, I would imagine.
National and regional, probably over 50.
Yeah. That's crazy, man.
Yeah. But, improv is, just going in for an audition, and they say, "Here's a bucket of chicken. Pretend like you're in a race and join chicken." Bam.
Yeah.
You gotta turn something on. Even if you've never been to a race or eaten a bucket of chicken.
Right. Well, I'm from Florida, so that's like it's a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
I had an audition for the Florida Lottery like that.
Yeah.
I came in and I had 2 different auditions for this on the same day for the same thing, 2 different characters. They wanted me to audition 2 different ways.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. No, that's yes. So, as a director, what do you look for in an actor when you're? I know you've written a lot of the material that you direct, and sometimes you haven't written the material that you're directing for. So, what do you look for when you do casting and?
One is, do they know the material?
Okay.
Do they come in and are they off book? Or, in some cases, like maybe they just got the audition yesterday, so I don't expect them to be off book,
Yeah.
Or they're a walk-in, I don't expect them to be, off book. But if it's a real role and you're auditioning for a scene, you should know the lines.
Sure.
You should know the scene. I don't care if you know the character yet, but I want you to at least know the lines.
Yeah.
I want you to be able to know the line, be in the scene for the moment, and then again, a lot of it falls back on improv for me. I want to see your ability to adjust.
Yeah.
In the scene, if I say, all right, let's do the scene again, but this time I want you to be, distraught, and or overly happy. I want to be able to see them pull that off. You know, you'd be surprised. A lot of people can't, man. A lot of people can't.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And I hate auditioning as an actor. I hate
it. No, I know. I actually had 2 auditions this past Friday in Atlanta, and it's the first time in a long time I had in-person auditions, and I was like, holy crap, am I still good?
What I hate is, you go to some of these, man, and it's like 15 people sitting in a room or standing in a hallway.
Yeah.
There's one dude who works there, and he just talks to everybody like I'm stupid.
Right.
I can't stand that. I can't stand when the agent talks to the actors like they're idiots.
Yeah.
No, man, we're here to make you money.
Right.
We're here to make you money. You called us out so we could get the role, so you could get paid through us.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's your job.
Right.
You be nice to us. Customer service. We're your customer. I can't stand it. I can't stand it because I know how I treat my actors and stuff, and I just try to be nice to everybody, have a good time, and I hate people who are condescending right off the bat, especially in audition. The worst audition I ever had was for Beethoven's Fifth. It was in Orlando, and I went to this audition. And it was for a director role. For in the movie, I get Beethoven runs around and messes up a film set, and the director loses his mind and all this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm up for the director role, and I was like, this is like perfect. Like I can't. I knew it by heart. I knew the whole thing, my whole scene, which was like 4 pages by heart. Yeah. And I get in there, and it's like 6 people. And I say hi to everyone. I walk in. Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? Okay, great. Your energy is fantastic. It's literally what I said to them because they were all like asleep.
Yeah.
And I said, all right. And then the girl goes, okay, you're gonna read with this gentleman over here. And I look over and there's this old dude with bifocals on, standing in a corner with a script in his hand. Now. He's reading for this role of the AD, the AD is losing his mind.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And this dude starts reading, and it was the quietest read I've ever heard. He was like, and it was the most emotional delivery.
So he just didn't put anything into it.
Yeah, and I didn't know if he was doing that to be serious or try to be funny, because when he said his first line, then my character is supposed to have this like rage line,
Yeah.
He says his line, and I had to go, what? I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Yeah.
And then the one guy's like, well, you should just know the lines.
What? Really?
Yeah. And I kind of looked, he was sitting behind a laptop or something. And I was like, what?
Huh.
And
Wow.
I was like, all right, cool. So then I just jumped into it and did the scene. I didn't get the role, but I was like, I almost said to them, like, you got to give a joke. Like, this is Beethoven's Fifth. No one gives a shit about this movie.
Right.
I was like, you're not going to go on from this, sir, as the director and make the next action film. We all know that. Anyway, yeah, that was the worst audition I ever had.
So how different is it being behind the camera than being in front of the camera? I mean, you're an actor, and you've been to auditions, you've had roles, you've been on numerous, So how when you're behind the camera and you're thinking about the actors, you know what I'm saying? So what's the difference there?
I think each side faces its own instrumental amount of obstacles.
Wow, just get all Freud on me.
Yeah, so I think that both. I think that in the front of the camera as an actor, you have obstacles that you have to overcome.
Yeah.
Whether that's developing your character or memorizing your lines.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And behind the camera as the director, you have everything else to worry about.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're trying to set up your. I mean, we work together, man.
Yep.
It's all these moving parts that can easily go way out of whack quickly.
Yeah.
If you're not paying attention to, as a director, if you're not paying attention to everything, and that's everything in front of the camera and behind the camera and in the office,
That's
you're gonna.
true. Yeah.
Shit can get wonky real quick, man.
Yeah.
But as a director, I enjoy it immensely. I enjoy watching the actors act. I enjoy when I see an actor realize they have a rationalization of their own in the scene.
Yeah.
And
okay.
you see them fall into the character.
Yeah.
Those are the moments I enjoy as a director.
Yeah.
And writer too.
Yeah.
But as an actor, I just like to be an idiot and have fun and not be taken too seriously, because I'm not I haven't had a chance to really polish my teeth on a real role. You know what I mean? Like I haven't. Yeah, I got to Stranger Things and that was awesome, but I haven't really been in like a meat.
I got
role,
you. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and hopefully that'll happen one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because I think this is kind of what impressed me most when I started to get to know you when we were working on that film. You were networking a lot, and that impressed me. I've never seen someone really network the way you network. And so, talk to me.
What do you mean? What did I do?
Well, I mean,
I'm just curious.
Well, I mean, you go to these conferences and you go out and you meet people and you look for things and you know what I'm saying? I think is it part of the genre, the horror genre that you're more interested in, or is just the fact that you like to go out and network?
You need to network, I feel like, but it's part of the genre. Part of the horror genre is you go to conventions and you meet fans and you meet other filmmakers, because there's no more solidification genre as a unified front than horror.
Okay.
Horror filmmakers back each other up. They'll support each other, man. They'll push your film. They'll talk about your film. They'll really get behind you. There isn't another genre that happens in, because let's face it, guys like myself, we're not out trying to make the next best romantic comedy.
Right.
We're not here to make films about that.
Yeah.
I want to make awesome action horror comedy and have a good time and get people covered in blood. And I want people in the audience to just chew through their popcorn at an insane rate of speed. And that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
And
so just network.
network. Network, man.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. It's how you're going to get ahead. It's the only way you're going to get ahead, because the next person you talk to could be the biggest door in your life.
Yeah.
You don't know.
That's true. Yeah.
You don't know who does what and how they work, or who. And with that too, though, man, comes a lot of risk, because you could court some guy who says he's an investor for 6-7 a year, right? 6-7 months a year. And you finally learn they don't have money, man. They're just in it to play this weird game of schmoozing with actors.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
I've been there so many times. So many times I met people saying that they're going to make a movie and they got money and they just need some help. And you start helping them or working with them, and it turns out they don't have anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
The $2 million they said they could get is just a fantastical idea, because they think their cousin Louie knows a guy who's a millionaire, and it's like that's not even solid, dude. It's not solid, man.
Yeah. So, what advice would you give an actor that's new to the business?
Focus.
Okay.
Focus. Yeah, focus on your craft, because if you really want to do it, it's going to take everything you have to do it, because it takes everything you have to do it.
Yeah.
You can't give up for not one moment, because if you do, you will be consumed by the tidal wave of all the other people trying to do it too.
Yeah.
And you'll just get pulled out in the riptide, and you'll be just flushed underwater under all these other feet while they're making a name for themselves. If
Right.
you take one, you can't take a break. You can't take a break. You can't do it. You have to continuously be busy in this industry.
Yeah.
And that means focus. Train. Take improv. Like I can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
I mean, take 3 years of improv.
Yeah.
Not just a weekend class that teaches something about space work for half an afternoon. That's not going to get you anything.
Yeah. What advice would you give an experienced actor who's maybe stuck in a rut? Maybe they haven't done something in a while, and they haven't heard from their agent or whatever. And
switch it up. That's what I just did, man. Dude, I've lost since September. I've dropped. I was 310 on 260 now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So just change something in your life.
Yeah, man. I just started working out more, and I started training, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, I went from I'm in a size 42 pants now. I was just so big. I was so fat, and I didn't realize it, man.
Yeah.
And I was just once I started training, and I was doing it 4 days a week, and it took a while, and then finally it started coming off. I haven't worked out in about 3 weeks, because I got sick as hell.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, everybody did.
And I couldn't even I still have a cough from it. I still this cough. So I haven't really worked out in a hot minute, because I've been too sick to do that. But
yeah.
I'm very excited, because I've lost so much weight. And
that's awesome.
That's what I'm trying to do now, is I'm trying to change, because the fat guy, comedy dude, that worked for a little bit, that got me so far, but it kind of stopped getting me gigs.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like it did, and so I was like, I'm gonna change it up, man. I'm gonna drop a ton of weight and try to come at this as more of a bruiser.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm just gonna try to start looking for roles where there's not so much comedy.
So you're basically marketing yourself differently.
Yeah, I'm trying to, man, and I'm trying to market myself as a director too. You know what I mean? As a horror director. So it's I got these two avenues that I'm trying to correlate with each other, and it's
yeah.
I don't know if it fits.
Yeah. So is there anything you want to plug or promote?
Yeah, man. I did a movie called Beauty of Skin Deep. It's a really cool thriller. It's a high school coming of age murder mystery.
You directed that one?
Yeah, I did. It was written by Jennifer Phillips, who's a fantastic writer. She's won a ton of awards. Beauty actually won 2 awards in December We won Best Supporting Actor for Cheyenne Buchanan, who you know.
Yeah.
And we won Best Supporting Actress for Jessica Lemon, who's this very talented actress who now lives in LA.
Okay.
But she, so the movie's, it's pretty cool, man. It's about it's like all this high school drama wrapped around a bunch of students getting killed off and trying to figure out who killed those students. But we just got accepted into Gasparilla International Film Festival.
Wow, nice.
So, yeah, March 21st at 3 p.m. We'll be playing in Ybor City.
Yeah, that's
cool, man. At least I got a premiere. I got a premiere coming up, so that's pretty cool.
That's nice, yeah.
Yeah.
So, go see it. And so that was it. You got a distributor for that or anything yet?
Do what?
Have you got
we're working with a company, California Pictures. They're supposed to be our distribution channel. They took it over to Cannes. It actually made it into the Madrid International Festival, which is where we won those 2 awards.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I just found out we got accepted into the Sunscreen Film Festival, which is in May. So we'll be doing Gasparilla, then Sunscreen for Beauty of Skin Deep, which is pretty cool, man. It's a pretty cool high school movie. I think it'd be really great, like an after school special. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really think it'd be a really great series. If I told Jennifer, the writer, she should try to shop it around as a series and let this be the pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what the full plan is with California Pictures and what they plan to do, but they did take it to Cannes, and it had a screening over there, distribution screening.
Yeah. Joe, we really appreciate you being on the podcast today, and we thank you for all your gems and pearls of wisdom and knowledge. And anything else you want to add?
I don't know. I was trying to think of something witty to go with gems and pearls, but I don't have anything.
All right. Well, it was good talking to you. We appreciate you being on the podcast. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Thanks again, guys, for tuning in. We love having you here on Hey Chip Lane. I Want to Be an Actor Too. Don't forget to watch Untouched on Amazon Prime, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube. You name it, it's out there. Not Netflix, though. So watch it, rate it, and tune in next week for a new guest or a new conversation. Have a great day.